Yeah. Here's to another goddamn new year. And outside, 2 million drunk Bostonians are getting ready to sing Auld Lang Syne out of tune. I sit there in my easy chair, looking at the clouds, orange with celebration. I wonder if you're out there. Hey! The ice of Boston is muddy and reflects no light, day or night. And I slip on it every time.
Excuse me.
Pop open the third. So I guess the party line is I followed you up here. Well, I don't know about that. Mainly because knowing about that would involve knowing about some pathetic, ridiculous, and absolutely true things about myself that I'd rather not admit to right now. I woke up at 3 a.m. with the radio on, that Gladys Knight and the Pip song on, about how she'd rather live in his world with him than live in her own world alone. And I laid there, head spinning, trying to fall asleep, and I thought to myself, oh, Gladys, girl, I love you, but oh, get a life! Hey! Ice of Boston is muddy and reflects no light, midday or night. I slip on it every time. Hey! The ice of Boston is muddy and reflects no light, midday or night. I slip on it every time. Time, time, time. Time, time, time. Time, time, time. Time, time, time.
Four times per annum in these chemically troubled times, the Organization of North American Nations Tennis Association's Juniors Division sends a young toxicologist with corn silk hair and a smooth white button of a nose and a blue ONANTA blazer to collect urine samples from any student at any accredited tennis academy ranked higher than number 40 64 continentally in his or her age division. Competitive junior tennis is meant to be good, clean fun. It's October, in the year of the dependent adult undergarment. An impressive percentage of the kids at ETA are in their division's top 64. On urine sample day, the juniors form two long lines that trail out of the locker rooms and up the stairs and then run agnate and co-ed across the ETA Commonwealth Administration Building lobby with its royal blue shag and hardwood paneling and great glass cases of trophies and plaques. It takes about an hour to get from the middle of the line to your sex's locker room's stall area, where either the blonde young toxicologist or, on the girl's side, a nurse whose severe widow's peak tops her square face with a sort of bisected forehead dispense a plastic cup with a pale green lid and a strip of white medical tape with a name and a monthly ranking and 10 to 15 YD, AU, and ENF TA neatly printed in a 6-point font. Probably about a fourth of the ranking players over, say, 15 at the Enfield Tennis Academy cannot pass a standard North American GCMS urine scan. These 17-year-old Michael Pemulis' nighttime customers now become also 4 times yearly his daytime customers. Clean urine is 10 adjusted dollars a cc. Get your urine here! Pemulis and Trevor Axford become quarterly urine vendors. They wear those papery oval caps ballpark vendors wear. They spend 3 months collecting and stashing the urine of sub-10-year-old players, warm, pale, innocent, childish urine that's produced in needly little streams, and the only GM scan it couldn't pass would be like an Ovaltine scan or something. Then, every 3rd month, Pemulis and Axford work the agnate unsupervised line that snakes across the blue lobby shag, selling little Visine bottles of urine out of an antique vendor's tub for ballpark wieners, snagged for a song from a Fenway Park wiener man fallen on hard off-season times, a big old box of dull dimpled tin with a strap in socks collars that goes around the back of the neck and keeps the vendor's hands free to make change. Urine, clinically sterile urine, piping hot urine you'd be proud to take home and introduce to the folks. Trevor Exford handles cash flow. Pemulis dispenses little conical tipped Visine bottles of juvenile urine, bottles easily rendered discreet in underarm, sock, or panty. You're in trouble? You're in luck. Quarterly sales breakdowns indicate slightly more male customers than female customers for urine. Tomorrow morning, ETA custodial workers, Kenkel and Brandt or Dave, fall down very hardy. The well-loved old janitor laid off from Boston College for contracting narcolepsy, or thick-ankled Irish women from the semi-tenements down the hill across Commonwealth Avenue, or else sullen and shifty-eyed residents from Enid House, the halfway facility at the bottom of the hill's other side in the old VA hospital complex, hard-looking and generally sullen types who come and do 9 months of menial-type work for the 32 hours a week their treatment contract requires, will empty scores of little empty plastic Visine bottles from sub-dorm waste baskets into the dumpster nest behind the ETA employee parking lot, from which dumpsters Pemulis will then get Mario and Candenza and some of the naiver of the original ephebic urine donators themselves to remove, sterilize, and rebox the bottles under the guise of a rousing game of who can find, boil, and box the most empty Visine bottles in a 3-hour period without any kind of authority figure knowing what you're up to, a game which Mario had found thumpingly weird when Pemulis introduced him to it 3 years ago, but which Mario's really coming to look forward to since he's found he has a real sort of mystical, intuitive knack for finding Visine bottles in the sedimentary layers of packed dumpsters and always seems to win hands down. And if you're poor old Mario in Candenza, you take your competitive strokes where you can find them. T. Exford then stashes and recycles the bottles, and packaging overhead is nil. He and Pemulis keep the wiener tub stashed under a discarded Yarmouth sail in the back of the used tow truck they chipped in on with Hal and Jim's struck, and another guy who's since graduated ETA and now plays for Pepperdine, and paid to have reconditioned and the rusty chain and hook that hung from the tow truck's back-tilted derrick replaced with a gleamingly new chain and thick hook, which get used really only twice a year, spring and late fall, for brief intervals of short-distance hauling during the all-weather lungs dismantling and erection, plus occasionally pulling a paralyzed rear-wheel drive student or employee vehicle either back onto or all the way up the ETA hillside's long 70 degrees driveway during bad snowstorms, and the whole thing derusted and painted in ETA's proud red and gray school colors, with the complex ONAN heraldic ensign, a snarling full-front eagle with a broom, and a can of disinfectant in one claw, and a maple leaf in the other, and wearing a sombrero and appearing to have about half eaten a swatch of star-studded cloth, rather ironically silk-screened onto the driver's side door, and the good old pre-Tavis ETA traditional motto, Te occidere possunt, unironically emblazoned on the passenger door, and which they all share use of, though Pemulus and Exford get slight priority because the truck's registration and basic liability insurance get paid for out of quarterly urine revenues. Hal's older brother Mario, who by Dean of Students Fiat gets to bunk in a double with Hal in Subdorm A on the third floor of Commonwealth Administration, even though he's too physically challenged even to play low-level recreational tennis, but who's keenly interested in video and film cartridge production, and pulls his weight as part of the ETA community recording assigned sections of matches and drills and processional stroke filming sessions for later playback and analysis by Stitt and his staff, is filming the congregated line and social interactions and vending operation of the Urine Day lobby using his strap-attached head-mounted camera and thoracic police lock and foot treadle, apparently getting footage for one of the short, strange, himself-influenced conceptual cartridges the administration lets him occupy his time making and futzing around with down in the late founder's editing and FX facilities off the main sub-Commonwealth administration tunnel. And Pemulus and Exford do not object to the filming, nor do they even do that hand-to-temple face obscuring thing when he aims the head-mounted Bolex their way, since they know nobody will end up seeing the footage except Mario himself, and that at their request he'll modulate and scramble the vendors' and customers' faces into undulating systems of flesh-colored squares by means of his late father's reconfiguring matte panel in the editing room, since facial scrambling will heighten whatever weird conceptual effect Mario's usually after anyway, though also because Mario's notoriously fond of undulating flesh-colored squares and will jump at any opportunity to edit them in over people's faces. They do brisk business. Michael Pemulus, wiry, pointy-featured, phenomenally talented at net, but about 2 steps too slow to get up there effectively against high-level pace. So in compensation, also a great offensive lobman, is a scholarship student from right nearby in Allston, Massachusetts, a grim section of tract housing and vacant lots, low-rise Greek and Irish housing projects, gravel and haphazard sewage and indifferent municipal upkeep, a lot of depressed petrochemical light industry all along the spur, an outlying district zoned for sprawl. An old joke in Enfield Brighton goes, "Kiss me where it smells." She said, so I took her to Allston, where he discovered a knack playing boys' club tennis in cut-off shorts and no shirt, and a store-strung stick on scuzzy courts with blacktop that discolored your yellow balls, and nets made of spare Feeney Park fencing that sent net cord shots sprunging all the way out into traffic. An inner-city development program tennis prodigy at 10, recruited up the hill at 11, with parents who wanted to know how much ETA paid up front for rights to all future possible income. Cavalier about practice, but a bundle of strangled nerves in tournaments. The rap on Pemulus is that he's way lower ranked than he could be, with a little hard work, since he's not only ETA's finest eschatonic marksman of the law, but Stitt says is the one youth here now who knows truly what it is to punch the volley. Pemulis, whose pre-ETA home life was apparently hackle-raising, also sells small-time drugs of distinguished potency at reasonable retail prices to a large pie slice of the total junior tournament circuit market. Mario Incandenza is one of those people who wouldn't see the point of trying recreational chemicals even if he knew how to go about it. He just wouldn't get it. His smile, below the Bolex camera strapped to his large but sort of withered-looking head, is constant and broad as he films the lion's serpentine movement against glass shelves full of prizes. M.M. Pemulis, whose middle name is Matthew, has the highest Stanford Binet of any kid on academic probation ever at the Academy. Hell, Incandenza's most valiant efforts barely get Pemulis through Mrs. I's triad of required grammars and Soma R.L.O. Chavez heady literature of discipline, because Pemulis, who claims he sees every third word upside down, actually just has a born tech science weenie's congenital impatience with the referential murkiness and inelegance of verbal systems. His early tennis promise, quick peaking, and it's turned out a little bit dilettantish, Pemulis' real enduring gift is for math and hard science, and his scholarship is the coveted James O. Incandenza Geometrical Optics Scholarship, of which there's only one, in which each term Pemulis manages to avoid losing by just one dentodermal layer of overall GPA, and which gives him sanctioned access to all the late director's lenses and equipment, some of which turn out to be useful to unrelated enterprises. Mario's the only other person sharing the optic and editing labs of the main tunnel, and the two have the kind of transpersonal bond that shared interests and mutual advantage can inspire. If Mario's not helping Pemulis fabricate the products of independent optical study work, MP isn't really much into doing. You should see the boy with a convex lens, Avril likes to say within Mario's hearing. He's like a fish in brine. Then Pemulis is giving Mario, who's a film nut, but not great tech mind, serious help with cinema optical praxis, the physics of focal length and reflective compounds. You should see Pemulis with an emulsion curve, yawning blazely under his bill-reversed Yachten hat and scratching an armpit, juggling differentials like a boy born to wear a pocket protector, and high-water corduroys and electrician's tape on his horn-rimmed temples, asking Mario if he knows what you call three Canadians copulating on a snowmobile. Mario and his brother Hal both consider Pemulis a good friend, though friendship at ETA is non-negotiable currency. Hal Incandenza for a long time identified himself as a lexical prodigy who, though Avril had taken pains to let all three of her children know that her non-judgmental love and pride depended in no way on achievement or performance or potential talent, had made his mother proud, plus a really good tennis player. Hal Incandenza is now being encouraged to identify himself as a late-blooming prodigy and possible genius at tennis who is on the verge of making every authority figure in his world and beyond very proud indeed. He's never looked better on court or on monthly ONANTA paper. He is irrumpant. He has made what Stitt termed a leap of exponents at a post-pubescent age when radical plateau hopping near Jay Wayne and show caliber improvement is extraordinarily rare in tennis. He gets his sterile urine gratis, though he could well afford to pay. Pemulis depends on him for verbal academic support and dislikes owing favors, even to friends. Hal is, at 17, as of 10 YDAU, judged ex cathedrate, the fourth best tennis player under age 18 in the United States of America, and the sixth best on the continent by those athletic organizing bodies duly charged with the task of ranking. Hal's head, closely monitored by DeLint and staff, is judged still level and focused and unswollen, bludgeoned by the sudden eclat and rise in general expectations. When asked how he's doing with it all, Hal says, "Fine, and thanks you for asking." If Hal fulfills this newly emergent level of promise and makes it all the way up to the show, Mario will be the only one of the Incandenza children not wildly successful as a professional athlete. No one who knows Mario could imagine that this fact would ever occur to him. Oren, Mario and Hal's late father, was revered as a genius in his original profession without anybody ever realizing what he really turned out to be a genius at, even he himself, at least not while he was alive, which is perhaps bona fidely tragic, but also, as far as Mario's concerned, ultimately all right, if that's the way things unfolded. Certain people find people like Mario Incandenza irritating, or even think they're outright bats, dead inside in some essential way. Michael Pamulis' basic posture with people is that Mrs. Pamulis raised no dewy-eyed fools. He wears painter's caps on court and sometimes a yachting cap turned around 180 degrees, and since he's not ranked high enough to get any free corporate clothing offers, plays in T-shirts with things like Alston HS Wolf Spiders and Choosy Mothers and the Fiends in Human Shape YDAU Tour, or like an ancient "Can you believe it, the Supreme Court just desecrated our flag" on them. His face is the sort of spiky-featured, brow-dominated Fenian face you see all over Irish Alston and Brighton. Its chin and nose sharp and skin the natal brown color of if you or the phone's frequency is covertly accessed, it also brings it up to plausible temperature. The ephebic-looking A toxicologist rarely even looks at it. But their fair-faced nurse can be a problem over on the female side, because every so often production small vade-mecum-ish pamphlet detailing several methods of dealing. Winter, BS 1960, Tucson, Arizona. "Jim, not that way, Jim. That's no way to treat a garage door, bending stiffly down at the waist and yanking at the handle so the Let's see you bend at the healthy knees. See you hook a soft hand lightly over the handle, feeling its subtle, exactly gently get to you. Experiment, Jim. See just how much more. Let it roll up, open its hidden greasier roller. Needless and dangerous ever to yank, pull, shove, thrust. Your mother is a shover. She respect or due care. She's never learned that the gentlest, most relaxed way is also treating them in the most efficient way. fault, Jim? Your mother back in California before, and long-suffering wife and breadwinner son. Your mother had a big part in the Marlon Brando movie. Her big moment. Had to stand there in saddle shoes and bobby socks and ponytail and put her hands over her ears as really loud motorbikes roared by. A major thespian moment, believe you me. She was in love from afar with this fellow Marlon Brando, son. Who? Jim, Marlon. So they the brain. It's warp and baffled. She may have loved Marlon Brando, Jim, but she didn't understand him. Is what's ruined her for everyday arts like broilers and garage doors and even low-level public park. Ever see your mother with a broiler door? It's carnage, Jim. It's to cringe to see it, and the poor dumb thing thinks it's tribute to its slouching slob type she loved as he roared by. Jim, she never intuited the gentle and cunning economy behind this man's, quote, harsh, sloppy, unstudied approach to objects. The way he'd so clearly practiced the chair's back leg tilt over and over. The way he studied objects with a welder's eye for those strongest centered seams which, when pressured by the swinishest slouch, still support. She never sees that Marlon Brando felt himself as body so keenly he'd no need for manner. She never sees that in his, quote, careless way he actually really touched whatever he touched as if it were part of him. The world he only seemed to manhandle was for him sentient feeling, and no one, and she stood there, flower-spotted grapes. You can't envy someone who can be that way. Respect. If you respect at the very outset. I'm predicting it right here, young sir. Jim, you're going to... You will be... You will be... I know, I haven't taught you to... Jesus. Relax, I know. Predictive sense will overshadow and obliterate me. Today you're starting, and within a very few years, I know all too well you will be able to beat me out there. And on the day you first meet me, I may well... It'll be out of a sort of selfless pride, an obliterated father's terrible joy. Feel it, Jim. Even here, standing on hot... Your eyes, I see the appreciation of... Respect. Chairs at the line of best force against dish, spoon, lens grinding appliance, stiff bend. You do it unconsciously. You have no idea. But I watch very closely. Don't ever think I don't, son. Will be poetry in motion, Jim. Size and posture and all. Posture problem fool you about your true potential. There, take it from me for a change. Trick will be transcending that overlarge head, son. Learning to move just the way you already sit still. Living in your body. This is the communal garage, son. And this is our door in the garage. I know you've looked at it before, many times. Now see it, Jim. See it as body. Original color, anyone's guess, boyo? The color, inlaid squares, how many? Let's see you treat this door like a lady, son. Twisting the latch clockwise with one hand. You have to pull harder, Jim. Let me... Mercury Montclair, you know so well, weighs 3,900 pounds, give or take. It cylinders and a canted windshield and aerodynamic fins. Jim, the maximum flat-out road speed of 95 miles per hour. I described the shade of the paint job of this Montclair to the dealer when I first saw it as a red. Jim, it's a machine. It will do what it's made for and do it perfectly, but only when stimulated by someone who's made it his business to know its tricks and seams. The operator of this car must know the car, Jim. Be inside, much more than just the compartment. It's an object, Jim, a body. But don't fool you sitting here, mute. It will respond. It's in its due, with artful care. It's a body. Get some decent oil in her, and all jet up to 95 big ones for just that driver who treats its body like his own, who feels inside, who and unnoticed feels the nubbly plastic of the grip of the shift up next to the wheel, just as he feels the skin and flesh, the muscle and sinew, bone wrapped in gray spiderwebs of nerves in the blood-fed hand, just as he feels the plastic and metal flame, rubber and rods of the amber-fueled Montclair when he shifts. The bodily red of a well-bit lip parping along at a silky 80+ per. Jim, a toast of our knowledge of bodies to high-level tennis on the road of life. Son, you're 10. And this is hard news for somebody 10, even if you're almost 5'11", a possible pituitary freak. Son, you're a body, son. That quick little scientific prodigy's mind she's so proud of and won't quit twittering about. Son, it's just neural spasms. Those thoughts in your mind are just the sound of your head revving. And head is still just body, Jim. Commit this to memory. Head is body. Jim, brace yourself against my shoulders here for this hard news at 10. You are a machine, a body, an object, Jim. No less than this rudolent Montclair, this coil of hose here or that rake for the front yard's gravel, or, sweet Jesus, this nasty fat spider flexing in its web over there up next to the rake handle. See it, see it? Latrodectus mactans, Jim. Widow. Grab this racket and move gracefully and feelingly over there and kill that widow for me, young Sir Jim. Go on. Make it say K. Take no names. There's a lad. There's to a spiderless section of a communal garage. Ah, bodies everywhere. A tennis ball is the ultimate body, kid. We're coming to the crux of what I have to try to impart to you before we got out there and start actuating this fearsome potential of yours. Jim, a tennis ball is the ultimate body. Perfectly round, even distribution of mass, but empty inside, utterly a vacuum. Susceptible to whim, spin to force, used well or poorly. It will reflect your own character, characterless itself, pure potential. Have a look at a ball. Get a ball from the cheap green plastic laundry basket of old used balls I keep here by the propane torches and use to practice the occasional serve, Jimbo. Attaboy. Now look at the ball. Heft it. Feel the weight. Here, I'll tear the ball. Yeah. Notice? Touch. So with that big, thin, slumped, over tall body, Jimbo, I'm predicting it right now. I see the way you'll apply the level day to yourself as a physical body. No more carrying your head at the level of your chest under round, slumped shoulders. No more tripping up. No more overshot reaches, shattered plates, tilted lampshades, slumped shoulders, and caved-in chest. The simplest objects twisting and resistant in your big, thin hands, boy. Imagine what it feels like to be this ball, Jim. Total physicality, no revving head, complete presence. Then they're potentially so young. That the Jim say, have a look at this thumb right here. But I still treat it as my own. I give it its due. You want a drink of this, son? I think you're ready for a drink of this, no? 9? Today, lesson 1 out there, you become, for worse, Jim, a man, a player, a body in commerce with bodies, a helmsman at your own vessel's tiller, a machine in the ghost, to quote a phrase. A 10-year-old freakishly tall, bow-tied, and thick-spectacled citizen. I drink this sometimes when I'm not actively working to help me accept the same painful things. It's now time for me to tell you, son. Jim, are you ready? I'm telling you this now. Because you have to know what I'm about to tell you if you're going to be the more than near-grade top-level tennis player I know eventually very soon. Brace yourself, son. Get ready. It's glory. Have just maybe a taste here. This flask is silver, treated with due care. Feel its shape, the near soft from silver, and the calfskin sheath. Object that rewards a considered touch. Feel the slippery heat. That's the oil from my fingers. My oil, Jim, from my body. Not my hands, son. Feel. It's an object, a vessel. It's a 2-point flask of amber liquid. Actually, more like half full, it seems. So it seems. This flask has been treated with due care. It's never been dropped or jostled or cramped. It's never had an errant drop, not drop one spilled out of it. I treat it as if I can feel. I give it its due as a body. Unscrew the cap. Hold the calfskin sheath in your right hand and use your good left hand to feel the cap. Ease it around on the threads. Son, you'll have to put that, what is that Columbia Guide to Refractive Indices 2nd edition down, son. Looks heavy anyway. A tendon strainer. Fuck up your pronator tears and surrounding tendons before you even start. You're going to have to put down the book for once, young Sir Jimbo. You never try to handle 2 objects at the same time without just aeons of diligent practice and care. A brander like this, and well, no, you the books. Just don't drop the big old guide to indices on the dusty garage. is a square bloom of dust and gets our nice white. Jesus. I just took 5 minutes explaining how the key of being even a potential player is to think exactly to... Here, let me have this. Crash like bottles in the trash can. They're placed, they're guided with senses on full, feeling the edges, the pressure on the little floor of both hands, fingers as you bend at the knees with the book, the slight gassy shove as the air on the dusty floor, as the air gets displaced in a soft square that raises no dust, like so. Not like so. Got me? Got it? Well, now, don't be that way. Son, don't be that way now. Don't get all oversensitive on me, son. When all I'm trying to do is help you. Son, Jim, I hate this when you do this. Your chin just disappears into that bow tie when your big old overhung lower lip quivers like that. You look chinless, son, and big-lipped. And that cape of mucus that's coming down on your upper lip, the way it shines, it's revolting, son. You don't want to revolt people. You have to learn to control this sort of oversensitivity to hard truths, this sort of thing. Take and exert some goddamn control is the whole point of what I'm taking this whole entire morning off rehearsal with not one but two vitally urgent auditions looming down my neck so I can show you, planning to let you move the seat back and touch the shift and maybe even drive the Montclair. God knows your feet will reach, right? Right, Jimbo? Jim, hey, why not drive the Montclair? Why not you drive us over starting today? Pull up by the courts where today you'll... Here, look, see how I unscrewed the cap? With the soft, very outermost tips of my gnarled fingers, which I wish they were steadier. But I'm exerting control to control my anger at that chin and lip and the cape of snot and the way your eyes slant and goggle like some sort of mongoloid child's when you're threatening to cry, but just the very tips of the fingers here, the most sensitive parts, the parts bathed in warm oil, the whorl pads. I feel them singing with nerves and blood. I let them extend further than the warm silver hip flask caps, very top down its broadening cone, where the threads around the upraised little circular mouth lie hidden, while with the other warm singing hand I gently grip the leather holster so I can feel the way the whole flask feels as I guide the cap around on its silver threads. Hear that? Stop that and listen. Hear that? The sound of threads moving through well-machined grooves. With great care, a smooth barbershop spiral. My whole hand right through the pads. Less here than God. She do. Anywhere so the silver cap leaves the flask mouth's warm grooved lips with just a snick. Hear that? That faintest snick? Not a rasp or a grinding sound or harsh, not a harsh, brutal, Brando-esque rasp of attempted domination, but a snick. A nuance there. Ooh, like the ones you've heard, it never mistakable bonk of the true hit ball, Jim. Well, pick it up, then. If you're afraid of a little dust, Jim, pick the book up if it's going to make you all goggle-eyed and chinless. Honestly, Jesus, why do I try? I just wanted to introduce you to the broiler's garage and let you drive. Maybe feeling the Montclair's body, taking my time to let you pull up to the courts with the Montclair's shift and neutral glide and the 8 cylinders thrumming and sticking like a healthy heart and the wheels all perfectly flush with the curb, and bring out my good old trusty laundry basket of balls and rackets and towels and flask and my son, my flesh off my flesh, white slumped flesh off my flesh, who wanted to embark on what I predict right now will be a tennis career that'll put his busted up, used up old dad back square in his little place, who wanted to maybe for once be a real boy and learn how to play and have fun and frolic and play around in the unrelieved sunshine the city's so fuck all famous for, to enjoy it while he can, because did your mother tell you we're moving? That we're moving back to California finally this spring? We're moving, son. I'm harking one last attempt at time to that celluloid siren's call. I'm giving it the one last total shot a man's obligation to his last waning talent deserves. Jim, we're headed for the big time. again, at last, for the first time since she announced she was having you, Jim, hitting the road, cellular. So say adios to that school and that fluttery little moth of a physics teacher and those slump, chinless, slide rule-wielding friends of, no, now, wait, I didn't mean it, I meant it, I wanted to tell you now ahead of time, your mother and I, to give you plenty of notice so you could adjust this time because, oh, you made it so unmisinterpretably clear how this last move to this trailer park upset you so, didn't you? To a mobile home with a chemical toilet and bolts to hold it in place and widow webs every place you look and grit settling on everything like dust out here instead of the club staff quarters I got us removed from, or the house it was clearly my fault we couldn't afford anymore. It was my fault. I mean, who else's fault would it be, am I right? That we moved your big soft body with allegedly not enough notice, and that East Side school all self-consciously not of this earth's grit urging us to, quote, nurture your optical neck with physics, with her nose upturned so could see up and on her toes like something skilled over a hook. We're reeling skyward up toward the ether. Little by little, I'll bet those heelless pumps are off the floor altogether by now, son. What do you say, son? What do you think? Now, no, go on, cry. Don't inhibit yourself. I won't say a word. Except it's getting to me less all the time when you do it. I'll just warn you. I think you're overworking the tears. And it's getting less effective with me each time you use it, though. We know, we both know, don't we, just between you and me, we know it's always work on your mother, won't it? Never fail. She'll every time take and bend your big head down to her shoulder so it looks obscene. If you could see it, patting on your back like she's burping some sort of slumping, oversized, obscene, bow-tied infant with a book straining his pronator tears, crying, will you do this when you're grown? Will there be episodes like you're a man? At your own a citizen of a world that One, two.